Oh, we missed that front end. Oh, that's painful. That was some of my best
Yeah.
stuff. Good
It was
medicine.
loaded. It was loading on my side, but it wouldn't
Well,
sync and
hello,
it finally
everyone. We're going to
did.
start again. No, we can't do that. All right. So when I do my schedule concession, well, Miss Lewis, most of our students come to class once or twice a week. Would that work for you? Well, can he come more? Would you like him to come more? Oh, yeah, yeah, yeah. I want to come every single day. I can't make it about the schedule. Well, Mrs. Lewis, after our lesson, we'll sit down together, review the schedule, and find a attendance plan that will fit perfectly. Okay. Okay. I want to shuffle it for later. All right, so that's the first time we try to overcome the time objection in terms of classes. But there's another time. It's during the PA. And during the PA, the personal analysis, student analysis, here's the question we ask. Well, Mr. Lewis, what other sports or activities is your child involved with? And you listen to their answer. Now, whether they give a long laundry list of things they're doing or they only have one or two things or nothing, we say, so you'll be able to take class 1 to 2 times per week. You double down on the minimum of attendance. Now, as we move forward in our training, and perhaps we can help you restructure your monthly tuition based on how many times a student comes to class, this will happen. This will be very useful. But in the meantime, we got to talk about the time of showing up. Now, let's talk about the other time, length of time of commitment. One of the questions you may run into frequently is, well, do I have to sign a contract? Will I be locked into a membership? And the answer is that you got to ask, what concerns you about a membership agreement? Just ask them, well, do I have to sign a contract? Well, what concerns you about a membership agreement? Well, I don't want to be locked in. Well, Mrs. Lewis, let me put your mind at ease. We're not going to lock anybody into anything. But the agreement that we write out firmly confirms the services we're going to provide for you and all the promises we're going to make. So kind of skirt that one. But one of the things I want to share with you is that don't send people to collections if you are using a time or a contract type membership. It simply will not work to your advantage. All right. So that's the time part. During the tour, we do a schedule concession. We invite them to understand that most of our students come once or twice per week. If they push back on that, we tell them that we're going to review the schedule after our first lesson. And the second time, you reaffirm the idea of coming once or twice a week. When you ask whether sports and activities your child is involved in. Now, if they give you a long laundry list of things that the kid does, you say, Mrs. Lewis, you sound like a lot of our families. A lot of our families have the same hectic schedule. However, after our class today, you're going to realize how important this training is. And don't you worry, you'll make time to come to class once or twice a week. Ladies and gentlemen, be that direct. Okay. Now let's talk about the money. If the first time a potential new member hears about your tuition, the money that you charge, is when you're attempting to enroll them after you've taken through your regimen of your enrollment process, you're going to sign up less people. And the reason why is this. Most people have no idea what it's going to cost, or if they do have an idea what it costs, it probably isn't accurate. So here's what you have to consider. Before you ever present them, maybe halfway through their very first visit, you do what we call a price drop. We just make mention of what the tuition is. Now, my recommendation is when you make mention of what the tuition is, your biggest, boldest, best membership that includes the entire family. So in this example, I'm going to use basic. Oh, Mr. Lewis, just to let you know, your entire family can train together for only $4.98 a month. How does that sound? $4.98 a month. That's a car payment. Well, Miss Lewis, after our lesson today, if we figure out you found the right academy, I'll review the tuition options. We'll find something that's going to fit your budget perfectly. But if you don't price drop, they have no idea how to help you help them justify the tuition. Now, in the event that they push back, if you price drop the family and they say, no, it's just going to be for my kid, your fallback is, well, in that case, it's only half. And then you just move on with your presentation. The second time you talk about price in order to enroll more people is when you enroll them, you ask for amount of money larger than what most people would expect. Like, for example, normally to enroll in our program, we have initial investment of $550. And the way the tuition works, it's $249 a month. I just blew their mind. I just changed their mind about martial arts. It's not like signing up for Little League or a bowling league. Now, the truth is, if you want to make your program more valuable, you have to let them know that the program is valuable based on price. And this front end presentation of your enrollment process is the shake them up, wake them up, shake them up and wake them up. One of the things you got to remember here in North America, most people determine the value and quality of any item or service based on price. And we're going to leverage that idea. So when you first sit down with people, you got to present the high level membership fee and don't worry about the monthly tuition. All right. So again, here's what it would sound like. Ms. Lewis, normally to enroll in our basic membership, we have initial investment, this is for a single now, of $550. However, uh, based on what we saw tonight, we don't need to use that 2-week trial membership. I mean, we use our trial program to best qualify a student for one of our programs, and your kid is ready. So we don't need to use the next 2 weeks to figure that out. So here's what we're going to do. We're going to apply the full value of your 2-week program, saving you $125. And I'm so confident this is the right membership. I'm going to help out. I'm going to match this savings, saving you $250 for enrolling tonight. How's that sound? You just take that big price, you figure out a way of diminishing that amount of money by leveraging something. That something could be the value of your trial. Maybe that something is a first lesson incentive to help people get started. But you got to ask for more money than what right now you might feel comfortable with. And then, of course, we do what's traditionally called a price drop based on leveraging some level of value to reduce it to get them cooking. Okay, now that's the price part. So let's recap. As far as timing, we're going to let them know that most of our students come 1 to 2 times per week. We're also going to let them know that whether they have a busy schedule or not, you sound like most of our families, and they're able to come to class once or twice a week. That's before you teach the first lesson. And then, of course, when I sit down with them, I'm going to present, when I take them to the tour, I'm going to present the price drop. And then when I sit down with them and enroll them, I'm going to give a big inflated number to shake them up and make them realize how valuable this is. Now let's talk about permission. Permission, though, overcoming the objection of permission, I got to go home and talk to my spouse, doesn't happen at the point of sale. And I tell you, before we figure this out, here's what I would do. Well, in that case, Miss Lewis, let me leave the room. You call your husband and get the okay. I used to do that. And looking back, I wish I hadn't. And the reason why, you're applying some additional hardcore pressure that really isn't needed, particularly if you're trying to create a family environment. So rather than trying to apply pressure to get the permission at the point of sale, let's go upstream a bit. And when you learn the phone dialogue and you execute it properly, one of the things we do is we look for spousal approval. We make certain that a person who's coming in for the very first lesson can, in fact, make a decision. If they can't, well, we'll take the appropriate steps. So when you look at the phone script, here's what you'll see. Well, Mrs. Lewis, I got to let you know that most of our families, after the very first lesson, know whether or not they found the right martial art academy. And ma'am, if that's the case for you, if you love it as much as I know you will, heck, I'll even show you how to roll, save money. Okay, well, okay. Now I got to make sure they can make a decision. So ma'am, does anyone else need to be involved in a decision for membership? Then prime the pump. Let them think about it. Maybe your spouse or an ex, or how about your grandparents? Or how about the grandparents, excuse me. Does anyone else need to be involved? Listen, that's pretty straightforward. And she's going to say yay or nay. Oh, no, I'll be able to make a decision. I make all financial decisions. Great, come on down. Let's go ahead and do what we're going to do. But if there's any reluctance, tap the brake. Well, in that case, Mrs. Lewis, let's schedule the first lesson so your husband, his name, so Mr. Wilson can join us. Reschedule, guys. Reschedule. Because they're telling you, I will not be able to enroll. But here's what I'll do. I'll come down there, use a whole hour of your life force, learn everything about your program, listen to your membership, and go home and slaughter it for my husband. That's exactly what happens. So in the event that they tell you that someone else is involved in the decision, tap that brake and invite that other person to attend. Now, here's the rub. Half the time, even when they tell you they can make a decision, if the money is a bit of a problem, they'll tell you they have to go home and talk about it. We've all heard that, right? But I thought you said that, but. Now, here's what you do. At the end of your introductory lesson, after you tell the child, Jimmy, give your mom a big hug and a kiss for signing you up for Taekwondo. You're going to do great. And Ms. Lewis, we spoke on the phone that if this is the perfect program for your youngster, that I'd review tuition options. Will you be able to make decision to enroll tonight? If she tells me yes, off to the races. If she says anything other than yes, Well, I'm going to go home and present it to my husband, see if we can work it into our budget. I'm going to I'm going to tap the brake. I'm not going to present the membership. What I will do, though, I will schedule the next lesson so the other person involved in this decision can be a part of it. And ladies and gentlemen, if you do this, you're going to help more people enroll, because I really do strongly believe that you only have one time, that first time, to enroll people. Matter of fact, one of the things you might want to write on the inside of your forearms is be backs, don't be back. So for the most part, if you don't cover the potential objection of time, money, and permission, you will enroll less people. As simple as that. And the people that really need your help, because we handle it clumsily, would never be able to benefit from a program as dynamic as yours. So let's open the line for questions about that those opening remarks. Any questions or comments? I see Mr. Ramsey. Mr. Ramsey, how you doing, sir?
Good, sir. How you doing?
A new guy on the block. So what are you taking away from that rant?
Um,
Well, let me ask.
Oh.
Do you tell people before they come in that most people know at the end of the very first lesson whether or not they found the right academy? That's a yes or no question.
no, that's been my hardest thing to sell is a one class thing. So
Well,
that'd be my takeaway from the.
all right, so we just uncovered something. It's like I remember one time I was riding my bike in downtown San Francisco. I didn't have a car; I had a bicycle, and I'm racing my bike, and I didn't realize it, but the manhole cover had been removed. Well, you can imagine what happened, right? I didn't know. Well, we just put a cover on that manhole. Now you know. If you don't tell people what is typically expected, you're not any level of control. So let's you and I role play it real quick. Okay, I'll go, you go. Oh, Mr. Ramsey, most families know after the very first lesson whether or not they found the right martial art academy. And if that's what happens for you, will you be able to make the decision about a membership? Your turn, go.
I can't do it like that yet.
Well, you can do a little bit of it. Start it.
Um, boy, put me on the spot.
Yeah, absolutely. Well,
I
you
got
asked.
11, I got 11. I got 11 calls I got to make today too. Later.
Ooh,
Okay, all right. Well, let's slow it
good.
down. So one of the things you got to, yeah. Matter of fact, Mr. Ramsey just started running his own ads. When Friday?
Yeah. Yep.
And how many leads have come in?
11 so far
Oh,
Guys,
fantastic.
don't stop paying agencies, man.
on
Save
the
them.
weekend. On the weekend. So
Yeah. Congratulations, sir. Great start. All right. So as you referred to this phone dialogue, one thing you got to realize that when somebody tells you they're coming in, make sure they can make a decision. And at the end of the dialogue, you say, hey, just let you know, most families know after the very first lesson whether or not they found the right academy. And ma'am, if that's the case for you, if you guys love it as much as I know you will, I'll even show you how to save money by enrolling. And they say the magic word, okay, well, okay. Well, really, we're just going to use the 2 weeks. Just don't even listen. And if that's the case for you, will you be able to make the decision about membership? Just tell them. And see, what I'm also doing too is I'm forewarning them. Otherwise, it's going to feel like a bait and switch. And we don't want to offend people. Listen, the last thing we want to do is be a hardcore, unfeeling, unyielding salesperson. I'm a reformed, unyielding salesperson. Yeah, no. But the truth is, it's not fun. It's not fun to apply pressure. It's not fun. I want people to feel comforted with the idea that I am doing everything I can to make sure it's the right thing by leading the way, not by pushing them into something that they may regret later. All right. So, Mr. Ramsey, hit me with it. Tell me that most people know after the very first lesson. Go.
most people know after their very first lesson that it's a good fit for their kid. If that's the case, would you be able to? Well, I can't even. Would you be able to sign up today, or?
Well, you got to, again, don't be afraid to read the dialogue, but just say, and that's the case for you, if you love as much as I know you will you be able to make the financial decision, rev it up, to save money by enrolling? Okay. Just forewarn them. All right. Very good. Excellent. All right. Other questions? Miss Barry, how are you doing? It's been a while.
Doing well, sir. Thank you. And yes,
Welcome
it's been a long time.
Yeah, well, welcome back. I'm glad you're with us.
Yeah.
I'm not sure when you came on board, but all this information I just shared is not news to you, right?
No, sir. No, sir.
So,
And I've used
is there
it
any?
quite a
Go ahead.
while. Yeah.
So, is there
I've been
anything?
using it for quite a while.
Yes, ma'am. Is there anything that we just covered this morning that you need to drill down on? Make sure it happens in every single interaction, every phone call?
I need to refresh on price dropping more, shaking them up with making sure that everybody's going to be there, because they'll get there and be like, oh, my husband got called away on work or something like that. And that happens to me. I would say 4 out of 10 times.
Well, my
All the
recommendation
time.
is
A
my
few.
recommendation is don't send them away. You know, put on the dog and pony show, but don't present unless you know
Mhm.
decision makers are there. And the truth is, I think education is, excuse me, experience is the best teacher. And to share what we're sharing with you now took years and years and years to figure out. We'll take a shortcut. Just realize that what holds people back is time, money, or permission. And you can investigate each one of those potential objections long before you actually invite them to enroll. Master Pishke, I saw your hand go
I
up.
agree.
Yeah, I was just gonna say, I think it's so important to, number one, let them know, find out on the phone who all needs to be there, make sure they're all going to be there. I don't want to schedule a lesson if both parents can't be there, because both parents need to be there in order to make this decision. It's not a cheap park and rec type program. It's a real investment. In fact, I want it to be the biggest investment they've made in their child to date. And so I got to make sure both parents are there. If they can't both be there, then let's find a time where they can both be there. And let's not jump to all these hoops down the road. Let's not set ourselves up for failure. Number two, at the end of that call, like Master Merchant just said, I'm going to let them know that, hey, we will talk about membership if I approve you to be a part of this academy. That's what I want to come across. And it can be real soft. It can be like, let's say if I'm talking to Mrs. Berry, I say, and Mrs. Berry, before we go, there is one last thing. Most of our families know after the very first visit if it's a good fit. And if it is, well, heck, we'll review the memberships and even help you save money by just getting started right away. Okay? And they go, "Oh, okay. It's no pressure. I'm not putting you in a chokehold. I'm letting you know what you had to look forward to. And I'm being real nice about it. But I want them to realize when they come in, they're coming in to see if they qualify to be a member of this academy. We build on that once they come in the front door using our dialogue. But if they show up and one of the spouses isn't there, yeah, absolutely. We're gonna knock them off their rocker. We're gonna knock them back on their heels. We're gonna make sure that kid loves it so much that they're gonna have to sign them up. But we will not invite them to enroll. I won't
Right.
do it. Because if they show up without both parents after I already made a point of discussing how important it was, we confirmed both parents are going to be there. And this literally happened a few weeks ago when I was out in Elk Grove, and the dad showed up without the mom. Well, we all know moms that run the household. And I said, "Oh, where's mom?" Well, she got hung up at work. Okay. Well, he had his 5-year-old kid that's super excited. I wasn't going to turn him away. I said, "Okay, well, let's go ahead and do the lesson." We went out there. We had the kid on the dot and the dad on the dot. And we did the lesson. We knocked their socks off. And I said, "Okay, great. Now let's schedule the next lesson." And it's imperative that mom is here for that, or we won't be able to move forward together. Okay. I mean, really lean in on that. And he's like, oh, okay. Well, how much is it going to cost? Oh, don't worry. We'll go over all that next time. For today, your kid did great. And we schedule the next lesson. Now, the next lesson, first thing I get asked is, well, is that a group lesson? Of course not. They didn't sign up for that yet. They've signed up on a trial program. They come to the trial classes. Now, I don't need to make a point of that. I'm not going to say, oh, well, you can only do, I'm just going to say, hey, let's schedule your next class. And the next class is going to be another tour and orientation. Now, here's the upside. That tour and orientation, that kid's going to do twice as good because now it won't be the first time he's gone through it, which allows me to further connect with dad about, man, look how much better he's doing already. Oh my gosh. And mom's going to be there because I'm going to really lean in on that. And sure enough, they came back a couple days later and it was funny because the dad showed up and a woman showed up and I said, "Oh, you must be mom." He goes, "Oh, no, that's grandma." I was like, "Okay, where's mom?" "Oh, she's coming. She's coming." "Okay, great. We'll give her a minute." So sure, mom showed up and we did the tour. We did the orientation all over again from scratch. In fact, anytime you think it's going to be awkward, address that first, please.
Yeah, go
Address
into
that
detail
first.
with that. Yeah, go into
Yeah.
detail.
So, for example, people always have the saying, well, won't it be awkward if I do the exact same thing again? No, it's going to be great because the kid's going to be twice as good. But I'm going to make sure, because I'm going to say, now, Dad, I know you guys were here last time, and we're going to go through that again today so Mom can see firsthand. And plus, it allows us to see if Timmy is going to be ready for training by how well he does today. And guess what? He's going to do real good today because it won't be the first time. Yes, Ms. Barry.
Well, don't a lot of us do the same thing for our basic class anyway?
Yeah, absolutely. You do it again and
So
again and again. And again.
So our orientation is based off our basic class, so it's the
Yes.
same thing over and over.
That's right. That's right. But I think sometimes we feel this pressure like they have to do something new or what's next. No, my job is to get them enrolled. So I'm going to control every component of every aspect of it. And I'm going to say, okay, so now, Dad, now you did this once already. So I know you're going to be extra good at it today. And let's demonstrate, Mom, you're going to get to do it with us too. I mean, anytime in your martial art business career, anytime you think something might be awkward or uncomfortable, always address that first. Put it to rest. Do not let it fester. You know, what do they say? Address the elephant in the room. Always, always, always. You know, even if you have well, I don't want to get too distracted here. So now we're going to go through the tour and the orientation again. The kid's going to do great. The dad's going to see it. The mom's going to see how everyone's in on this. And now we will present the membership and they will enroll. Yes, sir.
So often, folks we help out come back with, yeah, but I think they need to try a class before they enroll. Or maybe even the parent or the adult student will say, well, before I sign up, I want to take a full-fledged class. The way I feel about this is this: you're making it about whether or not they get to do it, which means you're selling them on an activity. Now, listen to this. If you put a student in class before they enroll, you will, in fact, enroll a lesser number of students. And the reason for that is that there's a degree of being overwhelmed. Let me give you a yoga example. Master Pishka and I have worked with a lot of yoga studios, and some of the studios we helped out, that's how they would introduce people to their program, where you came and you bought 30 classes in a row, whatever, and you just took a class. The return rate was less than 40%. Four out of 10 people would come back for that second class. And the reason why is an experience you can't control for them. And the same thing holds true in martial arts. I mean, it's like they got to wade through the chop suey to know what to do kind of thing. So if you run into that challenge where somebody says, well, I think we should take a firm full class before they enroll, it's because they're thinking about what the kid has to or what the kid gets to do. You didn't sell the membership. What you're selling is convenience. You're selling activity. You're selling your schedule. No, listen, it's not about what they get to do. It's what they get to become. So of all things you can do to improve your enrollment rate, learning how to do the personal analysis and getting big, bold reasons to enroll is by far the most important. So for those of us that are having trouble enrolling people at the end of an introductory lesson, and it's voiced to us that they want to come back and take a class, you're not discovering what's really sorely needed for this family or for the student. Go ahead and chime in on this, Master Pesky.
Well, yeah, if you make it about price, you lose every time. Cost is always a concern until value is understood. And we're going to play by my rules because this is my house. And either you're going to conform and comply, or you're proving that you're not going to be a good member of this community. And I need to let you go. Now, there was a couple questions that popped in here. One of them was from Kay. Says, what if they persist on wanting price, even if the other decision makers aren't there? We have to decide who's in charge, them or us. That's all. In fact, let's say, if we could, well, let's role play it. Ms. Barry, play with me here since we've known each other a long time. You can be the mom that's going to be real persistent and then there's also, well, we'll come to the next question. Okay, so Dad wasn't able to be here, even though you promised he was. Now, I'm not going to say that to her, but just to amplify this. All right, we scheduled a time where Mom and Dad could both be there. I confirmed Mom and Dad are both going to be there for day before and day of. And then she shows up with just the kid. Oh, Dad got busy. Okay, well, let's do the lesson. The kid did great. Let's schedule your next lesson. Let's make sure it's a time where Dad can be here so we can review together how you might be able to get started in our program because your kid did great. So let's pick a time. You want to come back this day or that day? Which is best?
Well, well, how much is this going to cost?
Oh, don't worry. We'll go over all of that for his when he does his second lesson. Our first step is to make sure he's going to be ready to participate in our program. And so far, he's doing really well. So, did you want to come back on Tuesday or Thursday? Which is best?
Well, I'm not sure what's going to fit into my schedule, and I really need to talk to my husband before we come back. So,
Okay.
can you give me a ballpark as to how much this is going to cost overall?
Well, again, I don't want to get ahead of ourselves. We have programs that will fit most every family's budgets and needs, and our schedule is quite flexible. So, first thing to do is to focus on a time where you guys can both be here. I mean, this is an investment in your child's future, and we take it seriously. But if now's not the right time, we can just press pause and maybe pick it up at a later date. Would you like to schedule your second lesson?
Well, Johnny seems to be enthusiastic about things, and then like tomorrow he won't be.
Ah,
So I don't want to invest too much and then him quit in like say a week.
perfect.
So can you tell me what we're talking here?
Again, our most affordable option runs about 50 bucks a week. Would that fit into your budget?
Hmm, it could, but I got to talk to my husband. He does run the books in my family.
Well, that sounds
Um, I might have
fantastic.
to call in the
Let's
grandparents still.
Great. Grandparents love martial arts with all the yes, sir, and yes, ma'am, and the discipline and the respect. Heck, let's do this.
Yeah.
Let's schedule a time where grandma and grandpa might even be able to be here too. Do they live locally?
No, they may have to fly in.
Oh, well, maybe we can Zoom them in. How's that? That'd be easier, right?
Oh, well, I would like to have a number before I do that because they're really not technologically advanced. Can you give me a
Ah.
little more information?
Well, again, if $50 a week fits your budget, great. And if now's not the time, hey, that's okay too. We're here to help and we're not going anywhere. So let's do this. Let's schedule a tentative time because our spaces do fill up fast. And if you find that your
Okay.
husband can't make it back with you for that time, if he's not able to arrange it, well, then call me and we'll find a time that does work. Does that sound fair to you?
Yeah, that sounds fair.
Perfect. I'm getting this lady out of here as fast as I can at this point, guys, because she sounds like a real nut and a pain in my butt that I really don't care to have. So
Excellent
thank
job, Miss
now,
Barry. That was perfect.
but yeah, it was. It was. Now, here's what I
You
want you
did?
guys to take away from this. I'm not desperate to sign her up, right? Number one. Number two, I don't want to invite headache into my life. I want to enjoy showing up to work every day. So I will control it. And number three, if you noticed, everything I said to her ended with what? A question mark. Too often we are information givers. Now, I did give her some information and then I asked another question. Every time I stopped talking, there was a question for her to answer. Now, she played tough and she answered it and then she kept coming back with her own. But that call right there, that instance right there, I cannot tell you the last time I've had a person like that in my academy. I don't even remember. It's been so long. So even though we all have the stories of this one time at band camp, that's not normal. If you control the conversation and you ask better questions, people want to comply. They want to do it right. They want to be a part of it. So, and if there's some weird wacko, you got to ask yourself, are these my people? And for me, the answer is no. That's not my people. Now, I did my best to get her to conform to become my people, but if she proves that she's not it, let it go. Let it go. My goal is not to sign up everybody. My goal is to get everyone to be a part of this community that we're building. And if they fit in, great. And if they don't, hey, that's cool too. It was nice to meet you, and we'll always be here. You're welcome to come back later. Yes, ma'am.
I've also found during tax season, if you ask direct questions, like if they say they're waiting for their tax check, ask when that tax check is supposed to come in.
Yes. Yeah, don't be
Ask
afraid to ask
for a
questions,
direct
guys.
answer.
And that's one of the things I love about working with Miss Barry is that she has become bold. I mean, she will ask people direct questions, which is why they've been able to grow the way they have. Don't shy away. Again, lean into stuff. Don't be a big soft scaredy cat. You know, everyone's got to be the same person on the floor. I'm sorry, off the floor that you are on the floor. On the floor, you're barking orders at people. Get down in push-up position, stand up straight, answer up loud. And then we get in the office and we become these little meek little marshmallows. Can't do that. Be the same person. Care about your people by guiding and directing them on what to do next. Now, we had another question here.
Oh,
by
wait,
a-
let me do two things before we dive into
Yes,
this
sir.
one. All right, first off, Mrs. Berry, she quadrupled her business.
Yeah.
And ladies and gentlemen, that it doesn't matter what the first number is. I mean, there are very few businesses that are able to quadruple their income. I mean, I bet the bank teller even said, "What is it that you're selling now?" But anyway, all right. Next thing, I see these questions, and the questions, all three start with "What if."
Hmm.
Whenever you ask a what if question, you think of something like exceptional, not something very commonplace. And the truth is, if we answer a what if question, you don't take our answer seriously. So moving forward, if you want to get the most out of any training, never, ever, ever ask a what if question. Ask a when question. Because all three of these what ifs are really wins. I mean, it's going to happen. Ladies and gentlemen, you can make up a scenario, and I know we've dealt with it. So, this idea of training at two different levels, the intensity for what ifs and the intensities for when. You know, when a parent does this, when a salesperson does that, that's the direction you got to go with all your inquiries because it changes your mind about how important the answer is. See, a what if question suggests that it didn't happen that often, and you don't take the answer seriously. You don't even take the question seriously. But if you want to get better at selling memberships, it's not what if, it's when. And when that happens, what do you do? What do you say? What's your thinking? Go ahead, sir. I wanted to add that.
Yes, that was great. So Master Houckman says, when the dad is always at work during class time and he can never make it, what do you do?
Yeah, use Zoom, baby. Zoom.
Yep.
Yeah, Zoom him. Just give him the Zoomies.
Yes, ma'am.
Barry?
Ms. Barry?
Or even if you can't use Zoom, voice call.
Yeah.
Sure.
We've done
Put 'em on
FaceTime,
speaker,
Zoom,
FaceTime,
call,
speaker.
put them on speaker. Yeah, you got to
Mhm.
get them involved because if you let the mom go home and relay the message, it will be butchered and it will be mutilated and it will only be about the money. The
Yeah.
advantage of doing it in the moment is you can ride the emotional wave of what you just created through this child and parent participation. And I'll tell you what, call him right now. Let's put him on FaceTime. Oh, he's driving a truck. Okay, well, then let's put him on speaker and let's share with him what we just experienced so he can get in on it. And it's,
Notice he said we.
yeah.
You know, say, well, call your husband and get the okay and walk out. That don't do that, guys. Do it together. So, well, Miss Lewis, I can help right now. Let's get your husband on the phone so I can clearly explain the benefits that your child's going to gain, and we can talk about the tuition. Remember, don't make a big deal about the tuition. Yes,
Yeah.
ma'am. Ms. Barry, are you
I
just?
did find out. Yeah, I did find out he wasn't in the picture at all, and she just didn't want to tell us.
Ah,
Yeah.
that happens.
So you will run into that once in a great
Once in a
mood.
while. Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, you know, and if a person says, well, we don't really get along, well, are we agreed that we're going to co-parent your child so that he has every advantage in life? Can we get you guys in the building at the same time for one day? Well, no, I can't stand to be around him. Okay, well, this
And
family might not even be a good fit. I don't know. But
well,
then,
even if
you know,
can't, you can, because I did have a family that had restraining orders against each other.
oh
Separate
my.
the times out.
Yeah.
Separate the times out.
And
you're
again,
gonna
that's
say
a
the same
one-off.
thing.
It's a one-off. Okay, well, let's schedule time where he can come in if he's going to be paying for half of it. I mean, sometimes you've got to roll with it and do your best to make it work. But it's not a
Mhm.
standard operating procedure. And that's what we're talking about. You know, you will get thrown a curveball once in a blue moon. You'll have a one-off once or twice a year. However, 99% of the business you do will follow a flow if you have a standard operating procedure to follow. And that's the key.
Absolutely.
So we have one other question here so far, and
Adam,
that
Adam, did I see your hand go up?
Yeah, I do have a question. Thank
Yes,
you
sir.
for doing this.
Fire.
So for a while we didn't have any kind of web specials. We just had, come in, take your introductory lesson. We did a one-on-one private evaluation, and then we would sign them up. And then there usually wasn't a problem. We would just either half their enrollment that day of or give it to them free. Then what we did was we started selling web specials, 4 weeks for $49, whatever. And we're getting people to purchase, so they're making more of an investment and then they show up.
Mhm.
But now I'm kind of struggling with the challenge of selling them after the special, because I'm thinking maybe an incentive for that day. So please, gentlemen, go for it.
Okay, all right.
Yes, sir.
May I go first? May I go first?
Go ahead. Go ahead.
If you allow people to use your trial program, you will sign up less people.
Yes.
The trial is a bamboozlement. It's a hoodwink. It's a trick. It's something we offer our community to get them to cross the threshold of your academy. And the first visit is the most important visit they'll ever experience with you. That is the best time to enroll people. Once somebody walks through the threshold of my academy, I will have them enrolled inside of 60 minutes. And I don't care what they came in on. I don't care if they staggered in with grocery bags or they bought a 4-week for $49. The class is going to be so spectacular. We're going to dig so deep. We're going to help the family realize the benefits they're going to gain. And I'm going to leverage whatever trial they have as an incentive to enroll. And I'm going to double down on it. The way you convert a trial into a membership is to buy it back, rebate it, leverage it. But it only works after you tell them what it's for. Like, for example, why do you sell a 4-week trial?
For us, just basically to get more people to pay for the Facebook ads.
Oh, okay. So you're using it as a source of income. Okay, great. I got it. But what is your timing for enrollment on that 4-week trial?
Usually we would love it to be the first week, but sometimes it doesn't happen until, the end of the trial.
Okay, I'm gonna do this little transport thing here. You're putting them in class?
Yes.
I thought so. Why do you want to do that? Well, why do you want them to crawl through barbed wire before they enroll? And that's what a class is. A class is overwhelming. A class is confusing. A class doesn't allow them to come to the conclusion that they can't be without this. Teach an introductory lesson. Now, whether you choose to teach a one-on-one or a couple people makes no difference to me. But if you can't knock their socks off by the end of the very first class, realizing they're going to get the benefits that they want, it simply means you don't have a sales process. But the longer you allow them to come to class before enrolling, the less likely they'll enroll. There is no way you can tell me you enroll 70-80% of people at the end of 4 weeks. There's no way. You probably have a 30-40% conversion rate. You can tell me I'm right.
We have 75%.
And how much money are you collecting at the front end?
The 4 weeks for 49.
So all you collect is $49 for
Okay, time. So you're talking about 75% of the people give you the $49.
No, 75% of people who pay that 49 will enroll.
Well, I tell you, at the end of 4 weeks, is that what you're saying?
Yes.
I've been doing this for a long time. And again, it just is suspect to me because here's what happens. Time works against you. Before somebody makes a firm commitment, they are comparing what they're doing to what else is going on in their life. They didn't realize that they have to come to class 2 or 3 times a week. They didn't realize that. They didn't realize that the traffic at 5:30 is miserable. They didn't realize they got to drag their kid away from the video game to come to class. They didn't realize they had to interrupt their child playing in the backyard. The truth is, the longer it takes to make the decision, less will do it. If you are converting 75% of your people in the 4-week program during the 4 weeks, I can't imagine you're collecting more than $500 at the point of sale. How much do you collect when you roll them in your program? How much do you collect?
Oh, you mean when they do enroll?
Yeah.
Yes.
That's 29.
29 what?
229.
So you're not collecting $500.
Well,
I can show you how to collect twice as much, 30 times faster. You don't need a month. And listen, it's my belief, I believe this now, that I believe that a student will never be more excited, turned on, plugged into the idea of becoming a martial artist than the end of the first visit, if, big if here, if they understand the impact your membership will have for them. And there's something else too. When you're taking that long to enroll people, you're creating a bottleneck. Like, for example, it takes one class for us to enroll one student. It might take 4 classes for you to enroll one student. It's going to affect your volume. And before you know it, you're so busy, you're not getting anything else done. See, our goal for everyone is to help the initial enrollment happen at the end of first visit seamlessly in preparation for a rapid upgrade. So now the reason I'm sharing this with you is that I'm about to hit the ball over the fence. Ready? Not only do we enroll them in the first visit, we upgrade them to an outcome-based membership before their first installment is due. So in that 30-day time period that you're sharing with us, we not only sell them a trial, we not only put them in basic, we also put them in a membership that has the potential outcome of earning the level of black belt. And because we do this, on average, we generate about $1,000 the first month of each student's enrollment. Oh, Fred, you must live in Beverly Hills. No, Jacksonville, Google it. There's nothing special about Jacksonville. There's something special about us. We help people understand quickly, effectively, efficiently what's going to happen when they enroll their kid. But here's the rub. The longer it takes you to enroll people, the more difficult it is for you to stay coordinated, stay organized. It creates that bottleneck. And there's no way you can rapidly upgrade people. Hell, if it takes 4 weeks to decide your entry-level membership, how are you ever going to put them on a program that's going to take them to the black belt? So as you learn more about our systems and how we help people, how we guide them through one membership to the next, you're going to realize that by delaying the enrollment beyond the first visit makes your life more difficult, and you will collect more money. Yes, Master Pesci, go ahead, pick up.
Okay. I was talking to a new client over the weekend. He messaged and did a quick phone call with him because he was trying to figure out how to charge the right amount of tuition.
Sorry, guys, working my day job.
He's very underpriced. And he's like, well, how do I collect more money so that I can spend more money on Facebook and get more students, right? The thing that we look at, one of the reasons why we do the business the way we do is because it generates more income for the school owner, it generates more income to pay staff members, and it generates more income to amplify your marketing if you choose to. For example, I know that every single dollar we spend on Facebook, we get $4 back. And the way that we do that is not by selling an expensive trial. Heck, our trial is a loss leader. It gets back a portion of the money. However, we enroll 70 to 80% of the people on a real membership the very first time they come in, where we will typically collect the first, the last, and the balance of an initial investment on day one. Now, for our membership, that comes out to be about $600. Our average cost collected at the front end of our membership is usually about $740 because 2 people out of 10 will prepay a whole 12-month program. Another 3 or 4 might only be able to do the first installment. That's okay, because the bulk of them are going to do first and last. And if you average out how many new sales you do divided by the total number of money collected on the front end of the membership, and we average north of $700 for every new sale. And what's really great, sir, for you is that employing this system, not only do you make more money on the front end, which does a lot of things. Number one, what we already mentioned, but number two, it also helps families take it more seriously. It also helps families be more invested because they literally invest more. And your attrition rate improves substantially, especially because, like Mr. Merchants just said, our main goal is to get them on an outcome-based membership in the first 30 days. Quite often, people are committing to an outcome of black belt before their first monthly payment is ever due.
Yeah.
And when they do that, they're on average paying another $1,200 to $1,500. So, at our academies, we'll collect more money in the first 30 days on average than most guys will collect from a family in the first 12 months. I mean, on average, we'll collect about $1,800 in their first 30 days of being at our academy. And Mrs. Barry can attest to that. And whereas a lot of school owners, they might collect $1,800 over the lifetime of the membership. So it's not that anyone's doing business the wrong way. It's that, is there a better way?
Yeah. Instead of working with this student over the course or the duration of a trial membership, by putting them on a program, we can prove that not only did they make the right decision, they'll want more. Once the student enrolls, we take them through a series of experiences called 5 memorable moments. With the first 5 classes, something extraordinary happens for each student. And what this does, it helps them realize not only did they enroll in the right membership, it also exceeds their expectations as far as value, and they're ready for more. And when people first hear what we do, they think, that's nonsense. But I think there's several people on this call that will attest to it. How they start determines if they stay. Adam, I don't think you and I know each other, do we? Have we met before? Go ahead and unmute yourself.
No, not in person. I've seen you over the years, way
Okay.
back when you were working with Childs and other people.
Oh, when I had hair. Yeah, I remember those days. Okay, I was about to ask you a really important question. Well, I've forgotten it. Kind of threw me off with the whole Childs thing. I hadn't thought about him in years. But oh, here we go. Here we go. Chances are the first day you took class, you knew it. You knew you were going to be a martial artist. What do you think? You agree with that?
Absolutely.
That's what I want to happen for every single student by design, not by accident. Hey, I remember distinctly June 7th, 1974. My mother drugged me in. I was sitting on the bench. I was nervous wreck. I had my shorts on. My little skinny chicken legs were sticking out. And I had a tank top on, thinking I was cool, showing my muscles. And this instructor walks across the floor and said, he said, you ready to try class? And I said, I don't know if I can do it. He said, I didn't ask you if you could do it. I asked you if you were ready to try it. That's how I got started. I knew at that moment I was going to be a karate guy. I bet you knew at that moment you were going to be a karate guy. I bet most people on this call knew at the very first experience that you were going to do this. This was your thing. Why take it away? Why put it at risk? Where they have that moment of enthusiasm and sheer excitement, and then it slowly erodes because they didn't realize they had to fight traffic. You didn't realize they had to iron that uniform after they wash it, or you look like a California raisin. They didn't realize all the difficulty parts. So get them at yes. At the end of the very first class is the best time to enroll people and set the stage of who and what you are. When you study our presentations, you're going to hear something very powerful we tell students. At the end of the very first intro, we tell the parent or tell the adult student, Mrs. Lewis, we're a Black Belt Academy. My Grandmaster Clark, decided years ago that every student who enrolls in one of his academy, his goal for them was to earn the rank of Black Belt. It takes years of dedicated training and practice, and that's it. However, your child's not ready for that level of commitment. But for today, we're rolling in our basic membership. And during the basic program, if we see what we need to see to help your child set his sights on becoming one of our Black Belt leaders, he'll be cordially invited to that level of training. Okay. They go, okay. You understand what I just did? I just told them who and what I am, and I also pre-framed them. So now in the back of their mind thinking, hey, I hope my kid is ready. I would love my kid to be a Black Belt. And I also appreciate this guy not trying to trick me into a membership that's too much, too soon, too fast. Enrolling in martial arts is not a logical decision. It's an emotional one. You lose emotion over time. Think about that for a moment. I mean, whatever you love in your life, unless there's a strong effort to reinvigorate the enthusiasm you have for it, it erodes. I want to leverage that first experience, that same experience that you may have had the first time you walked into the academy, knowing this was it. That's what we're trying to create. And this idea, well, they got to try it before they buy it and make sure, skip all that. Because the whole time we're inviting them to do what? To deeply consider whether or not this is what they want to do, divorced from the emotion they first had in their first experience. And that's what that's what we want to leverage, not take advantage of, but leverage. If you ever have a chance to visit us in Jacksonville during one of our certification, you will see hundreds and hundreds and hundreds of Black Belts. It's because this is how we put people on membership. But go ahead, sir. You had a question?
Yeah, no, I did see that that program that you guys are doing, you and Mr. Clark, that 3-month program or something like that. But I did miss that. I was sick. But anyway, so what do you do when they say, well, I purchased this program.
I buy it back. I buy it back. If you gave me $10 in exchange for $50, would you feel good about that?
Yes.
Okay, so here we go. Ready? Your 1 month of tuition, your premium tuition, how much is it?
It's for beginners, it's $229.
Okay, so that's what you sell. Mrs. Lewis, you're on our 4-week trial membership. And let me explain what the trial is all about. It's a program we use to make sure that a student is ready for one of our memberships. But after what we saw tonight, After the very first lesson, there's no doubt in my mind that you found the right martial art academy to help your child develop that self-confidence you want for him. So, man, we don't need to use the next 4 weeks. So here's what we're going to do. I'm going to apply the full value of 1 month of training, saving you $229 for enrolling tonight. And I'm so confident it's the right membership. I'm going to match the savings, saving you $458 for enrolling today. Okay. And then you apply that towards this phantom membership fee. You buy it back. The number one reason why people think they need to use it is we didn't encourage them to do anything else. Buy it back. Now, I just kind of made that up as I went along in terms of your numbers, but we can craft it. But here's what you have to realize. Somebody has to realize, you know what? This is what I wanted, but this is what I get. And they'll sign on that line that's dotted every single time. You know, one of the big missteps that we have in our industry is everybody thinks sales is bad. Oh no, you can't learn how to sell. What? Memorize scripts? Now, you know what sales is? Sales is communication. Sales is the transference of ideas. Sales is you allowing somebody to really appreciate what you have in mind for them. And that boils down to a formal sales presentation, leveraging dialogues, and we've got it covered for you. So why don't we set up a call maybe later this afternoon? I'll give you the overview and how we can move forward. Oh, look at that, pre-frame, perfect. All right, thank you, Adam. I'm glad you're here. All right, so we have time for one more questions.
I think that is it for right now. Roman, if you would you drop the link in there? Because I know Robert Jones, I sent you a direct message. I know you had reached out on the school platform. I did reply, but I didn't see, I don't know if you saw it.
I did.
So I sent you a message in here as well.
I saw
And
it. Thank you.
okay, great. And Professor Darren, I think the same rules apply. I believe you sent, if it's the same Darren, I sent a message back to you through school. I don't know if you saw it yet, so I went ahead and replied in this thread as well. So gentlemen, I look forward to seeing and speaking with both of you. Roman just dropped the link for anyone that wants to do a 15-minute onboarding call to find out how to better use all the tools that we offer. Click that link, pick a time, and we will help you. In the meantime, you guys that are...
Let's gain 3 takeaways, then we'll bounce off. Three takeaways, 3 moments where you went, I get that. We're going to put that in play today. 3 takeaways. Adam, let's start with you, sir. You got any takeaways?
If they stay longer, if they do more, they're going to get less. Meaning
And leveraging your trial.
yes.
Because time doesn't work in your favor. They get to compare what you offered to what else they're doing. And
Yeah.
I don't want it to be a logical.
Well, I think that there's a lot of truth that parents want their children, like adults can know right away if we like something. Kids, for parents, I've always heard it, and I'm sure everybody else has heard it, they want to make sure that they really like it before they sign them up for something. So they might need that 4 weeks to make that decision. And if it's not right for them, then that's okay too.
However, there are 2 things you can do to again, allow that still be the case. You can have a very liberal cancellation policy during that same length of time that they bought the trial for. Maybe you'll call it your 4-week satisfaction guarantee. And Mrs. Lewis, just put your mind at ease. Over the course of the next 4 weeks, same length of time of your trial, if for any reason you think it was a misstep enrolling tonight, I'll shred the agreement and refund your monies. Okay, but the second thing is this. How you're thinking is what they've already done in the past. Hey, here's what I've learned, okay? And again, I've been doing this my entire adult life. Most families that come into your academy, the kid already started and quit at least one thing, maybe 2 things. Well, we bought him a guitar. He took 1 week of lessons. Well, we tried to put him in swim. He didn't like getting wet. I mean, they've already failed. And what that tells you, they're comparing what I do with everything else they've done. And this is why your introductory procedure has to be unlike anything they've experienced. I mean, like anything they've ever experienced. For example, when a parent walks through the threshold of the door, you greet them with a bow, a cordial bow. That changes the stage. Not because the last thing they signed up for, they were at the Little League Park and the line was about 50 deep. And some woman who didn't care to be there was enrolling them one at a time. And the kid didn't even make the team. I mean, they're comparing you with something else that's negative. So you can overwhelm them with something more positive. And that's why the deck has to be stacked in your favor through the first visit, the first lesson. Very good. Thank you, Adam. Need one more takeaway and we'll bounce off. I got to hear from the pit master. Pit master, what's your takeaway from today?
Okay. Well,
Be
all
more
right.
assertive.
Okay. We
I'm
got
going to
to
answer for him. Be more assertive on phone calls because I do most of the calls.
I love it.
And questions, making sure that everyone's going to be there. I don't think I ask enough questions.
Well, first, but is it a problem you got to fix? I mean, how many times have you went, dang it, I should have made sure the husband would have been here. If that's happening, fix it. Listen, there's a finite number of things that go wrong, and we've all experienced it. You know, when you identify an area that's not going very well, let's identify what we got to do to make it right. And preparing somebody to make a decision of all the things you can do, I guarantee that's one of the most important. Very good. Well, thank you for that takeaway, miss. Thank you. All right. The Hackelman family, can we connect later this afternoon to kind of reshape the direction we're going? Would that be okay?
Yep.
You want to pick a time now?
Before 4.
anytime before 4.
We're 12 here right now.
We're at 12. We're Pacific time.
How about if I call you promptly at 3 o'clock your time?
Okay. Sounds good.
Want to do a Zoom call or just telephone call?
Either's fine.
Yeah, phone call.
All right, great. I'll reach out to you. All right, thank you. Hey, everyone, thank you so much for being on the call. Roman, go ahead and take us out.
Yep, great to see y'all on the call today. We'll see you next Monday. If you come prepared with questions, you will get a lot more out of this call than just trying to think of them on the spot. So if anything comes up this week where you struggle with a phone conversation or enrolling a student, write that down and bring it to next Monday, and we'll be able to answer it for you right away.
Excellent.
All right, and with that, see you all next week.